some noise. You guys ready for some great days? Bobby, Mace, Sean, Chester, it's great days!
So in 1992, I was my freshman year of college, and I had started a band with a couple of friends of mine. And one of the guys who had just been sitting in, he wasn't actually in the band, his name was Chris Hewlett, had told me that he knew a singer that he thought might be a good fit for the band named Chester, but his only concern was that he was a couple years younger than us, and I think Chester was 15 at the time, so that would have made me 17. I was 2 years older than him. So, from that point on, Chester and I were pretty much inseparable and became best friends, and just every day, while he was still in high school, we were rehearsing 3-4 nights a week, and just that's really how we got started. It sounded great the first time I got to listen to him sing. It was so funny to look back. You think you were in this position of, I know more because we're the people looking for the singer, and meanwhile he was the most talented dude in the room by far. So I was just very honored and blessed he walked into our life at that moment.
No one in town even knew I was a musician because I'm just running this big venue, And I don't know if it's Sean or whoever talked to me, hey, we're looking for a bass player. Our bass player's leaving. Do you know of one? I go, yeah. Who is it? Me. You play bass? I go, yeah. I came to an audition and nailed it. And then I was in the band.
Sometimes
after Grey Daze broke up in 1998, we had a lot of success, and we were playing in front of crowds, 1,500, 2,000 people pretty regularly. We were playing all the festivals, we were touring regularly, we were making money, the band was doing great. We had a couple of radio hits, and we did a couple record deals. So the band had a lot of success, so I felt like when that just got left behind, it definitely hurt quite a bit because I didn't know how to wrap my mind around that. It's like we had this product that was really good and we had a lot of fans. And when Chester joined Linkin Park, obviously for the business side of it, the Warner Brothers people saw the Grey Daze as a competitive product and they didn't want it out. So he was, pushed to remove anything Grey Daze from the internet, from websites, and at that time I just didn't have the energy to try to fight it. It's like I don't want to try to fight Warner Brothers. I don't have the time or energy. I was trying to take my life in a different direction. And then a couple of years had passed, and Chester and I reconciled after we found out our guitar player Bobby Bennington had gotten a brain tumor and didn't have long to live. So Chester called me as soon as he heard. He said, "Look, I just heard Bobby's sick and not going to make it. I miss hanging out with you." And I said, "I miss hanging out with you. I'm sorry. I feel like an idiot that we went down that path, and we were the best of friends." And then we just reconnected again right away, and we talked pretty regularly. But he called me in 2016, and he just was feeling kind of down. And he said, "I miss playing with you. I miss hanging out. Let's do a Grey Daze reunion and throw another club tattoo party. I want to do something fun. I want to go back to my roots and do some more rock music and just kind of get there." And so I said, "All right, well, let's do it." So we set up a date. September 20th of 2017 was supposed to be our launch date for Grey Daze. And in the meantime, we were going to work with another producer and put out another record. He wanted to go in and redo some of the songs that we had on the previous record, and he wanted to write some new ones, and that sounded very exciting to me. So the only issue was he had to go on a European tour for the new LP album that had just come out. So as soon as he got back, we were going to start working with the producer and get this record done. So we were all very excited. So the rest of the guys in the band, we brought in a guitar player named Cristin who Chester knew from high school. And they always had a good rapport, and we always had a lot of respect for Cristin. He was just a good guy. He was always around the music scene.
I am long lifetime friends with the Grey Daze guys, Sean and Chester. I went to high school with Chester, so I've known him since we were kids. I was 1 year older. The first time I saw Chester perform was at the Quad at lunchtime when I was like a senior in high school. So I've been watching Chester sing since I was 16 years old. When Sean asked me if I would like to come out here and record on this stuff, I said, of course. And so I gave him two options. I said, do you want me just to learn the songs? Because they wanted to update the sound, it's 20 years old, so it needs a fresh coat of paint on it, right? So I asked him, do you want me to just learn the songs exactly like they were, or do you want me to do what I would have done if I was the second guitar player in the band? And he said, do them both, right? So most of what I did that we recorded is stuff that I would have written had I been in the band 20 years ago. So I get to put my flavor on it, which is cool. It's the bones and the structure are the same, but I added some textures and just some things that are my style on it a little bit. So it was really cool that they were open to that and that it worked out for the recording.
So we brought him into the band, and the rest of us started rehearsing the songs and rewriting and restructuring stuff. So when Chester got off tour, we were actually going to be prepared to do this. And be prepared for the show and potential multiple shows we were getting. As soon as we made that announcement, we were getting multiple offers all over the world to start playing, which felt good. Then he passed, and on July 20th was not a good day. None of us were expecting it, and I got the phone call from Mace actually. And then my wife called right after and told me they were hearing this stuff on the news. So I called a mutual friend of ours named Church. Church was one of Chester's closest friends, and I knew he would know what was going on. And, Church told me, yes, it's true. We need your help. We need you to get to LA and come and help us. So I dropped everything I was doing. I was in Las Vegas at the time. I drove straight to Arizona to grab my clothes, and then I flew out to Los Angeles and spent the week after Chester's passing with the family, and made sure that I was just there for support for Talinda and the kids and everybody there. But at that moment, the Grey Daze project just stopped. It was the last thing on my mind was the band has lost my friend, and I know to the world, a lot of the people that don't know him, they felt like they lost a piece of themselves too when he passed, because he gave them so much personally, and they had that connection. And I felt bad for the fans, but I know the ones that really knew Chester knew what a kind and compassionate person he was. So it hit us all like a ton of bricks, and none of us were expecting it. So fast forward after we do Chester's funeral. That was rough. I gave one of the eulogies at the funeral, and that was, I think, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And watching some of the other people that spoke as well, it just made it that much worse. But I know after some time went by that Chester would want us to do this. He wanted this music out. He had lots of fans all over the world that would show up to their shows wearing Grey Daze t-shirts or having Grey Daze CDs for them to sign or holding up Grey Daze signs and stuff like that. And he would always call me after a show when he would meet a Grey Daze fan and go, dude, I had this crazy Grey Daze fan in Hungary, or I had this crazy Grey Daze fan in Germany, or, Tokyo. These fans, they love this stuff. So I know he was excited to put the music out, and for me, I wanted to make sure we did it justice. I didn't want to just put it out in the way that we had put it out in 1998, because I don't think he would have wanted it just like that. I mean, I guess he would be okay with that, but I think he wanted stuff to be new and relevant and for something his current fans could relate to and connect with. So that's what we've tried to do with this Grey Daze record now. So we're not going to call it No Sun Today like we did on the original version of it. We're taking a mixture of songs from a couple different albums and putting them together, and we'll have a new title for a new record, and it'll be a new rendition, but it'll be 100% Chester and something that the fans can relate to. So at this point, I'm looking at it, it's my job to kind of curate this music and make sure that it's presented to the fans in a way that makes sense, that's not offensive to anybody, and making sure that Chester's legacy lives on, because he was so much more than just the lead singer for Linkin Park. He was a great friend, he was a great husband, he was a great father, and he was also a great songwriter in many different projects. And I think his fans are really going to get a chance to connect with that when they hear some of this stuff.